Okay, so I guess what we wanted to start off with was by you ladies introducing yourselves and your pets, because I guess the main pets we're going to talk about today are dogs and cats, but you can use oils with all other animals, and we're going to get to that towards the end of the workshop. But Fiona, did you want to go first and introduce yourself and your lovely dog? Oh, we can't see you.
Okay.
No, we can hear you. I don't know. Oh, no, we
I can see Fee.
we can see you.
Yep,
Right,
I can see
you can
Fee.
see me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Come on, Mama. Okay, we're going to have trouble here with Elmo today, but anyway. Right, look, okay, so this is Elmo, and hopefully he's going to stay around for a little while because he's just, yeah, it's a bit different online. Normally I'm sitting on the ground with him, but we're sitting in the sofa today. So Elmo is 9.5 years old. He's a Cavalier Poodle cross. So at 10 months, I'm just going to get straight into it. So at 10 months, he was diagnosed with hip dysplasia. And so at 10 months, we had x-rays done and yeah, definitely hip dysplasia. And then they said, so he's going to have to stay on Pentosan. He's going to have Pentosan injections. So he was having them yearly injections of Pentosan, which, yeah, at the time I wasn't doing oil. So that was back in 2011. And then 3 years after that, Elmo. Now, are you happy for me to go through this at the moment, Kim, or not?
Yes, absolutely. If you just keep going, I guess with the storm and stuff, and we don't want to stress Elmo out, so you talk and then we can come back to Kylie.
Yeah. No, look, I'll let Kylie go over. Sorry, because, yeah, if we do lose, yeah, no, sorry, I forgot, Kim. Sorry.
Okay. I was happy listening to Fiona talk about Elmo. I've got little Missy here with me, and hopefully Elmo can't see Missy because I said to Fiona, cats have servants, dogs have masters, but this is little Missy, and she's kitten number 3 that's come into our life. They're all rescue kittens. So I am a little bit of the oily cat, crazy cat lady, but I've got a beautiful border collie too, Lucy. And Lucy is very oily too. She's having a bit of a sleep over there behind us at the moment. She's getting on in age, but Fiona is definitely our a dog expert, where I've got more information to share about the cats. But all the cats came into our life being rescue kittens, but this one came with some special issues. She had been treated for cat flu, ringworm. She'd also had been vaccinated. She was sterilised, and then they put flea treatment on her as well at 14 weeks of age, and she ended up with central nervous system damage, and they didn't think they were going to let her come to us. They thought she might need to be put down. So when we got a hold of her, she was doing circles. She was very wobbly. She had no balance. She couldn't jump off anything without landing on her face. Cats are meant to land on their feet. And she was quite, you know, it was a little bit of a concern and a worry, but my girls are going, Mum, we have to have her. We have to have her. So we went on a mission of bringing her back to good health. And as you can see her behind me, she's amazing. She climbs all the way to the top. She's got her full balance. She's got a few digestive issues. She makes as much smelly sort of smells as the large border collie in the house. So we don't know what's going on quite with her digestive system, but we're working on that. And yeah, she's definitely full of life, and there's no sign of her of any of the central nervous system damage that she had at that stage. And I'm very grateful for the people that I could reach out to get a little bit more information. But I'll go into what I did with Missy and what I do with my cats and the safety sides of cats and that. But we'll let Fiona talk about dogs and all of that first, and then I'll go into the cat side of things.
Okay, so Fiona, you know, obviously with Elmo, you know, he had sort of a rough start, and with the hip dysplasia and stuff. So is that why you started using Young Living products on Elmo? Or did you know, like, how did you know that you could use Young Living products on dogs?
Okay, great. Good question, Kim. So when, of course, I didn't start my oil journey till 2014, So that was before. So Elmo was having the injections, as I said in the beginning. And then in 2014, when I actually got into Young Living, that year in June, if I remember correctly, was when Elmo actually had, so that was 3 years later, he actually really was in chronic pain. He couldn't even jump up on couches anymore. It was really sad. He was really, you could just tell that whole body language. He was really, really sad, and he was in pain. So we took him back again to the vet, and the vet said, we did the x-rays, and they said if I was looking at this, the x-rays of this dog, we would think he was an 11-year-old dog with really bad arthritis. So we're going to have to put him on gabapentin. They wanted to, and they wanted to do 6 monthly Pentosan injections. And I just went, oh no, that really wasn't where I wanted to go. I still really wasn't understanding all the benefits of Young Living because I was only just new myself. So, we started on the Pentosan, and I did give him 1, maybe 2 of the gabapentin, and I saw what it did to him. And I just thought I could not have that happen to my dog. He was so miserable. He was terrified. He was acting really unusual. So I took him off that. And I have to say, I did see my Bowen therapist, and she actually suggested tissue salts in the beginning, which I was using on Elmo. But then when I started reading up, and I'll just grab one of the books. This book was around at the time, which is Melissa Shelton's, who was a vet from the US. I got this book, and that's where I started my journey, because this was all about Young Living. Unfortunately, she doesn't do Young Living now. She does her own oils. So this is a very rare book, but it's got everything about Young Living oils and supplements in it. And that's when I started my journey, and I felt really confident to use the oils and the supplements. And it's mainly the supplements I used on Elmo. So did you want me to talk about that, Kim?
Yeah, so before we go over to Kylie and talk about her, what she uses and the safety and that kind of stuff, do you just want to touch on, just to flow on, just touch on what products you love to use on Elmo and what you've seen the most benefits from?
Yeah, so Elmo gets daily sulfazyme and BLM, which sulfazyme we all know is just fantastic for inflammation. Also BLM, he gets 2 sulfazymes in the morning. He gets 1 BLM of a night, and a BLM in the morning, and he gets another BLM and sulfazyme, just because he's to that point these days. And every day he actually, come here, Elmo. Every day he actually gets Bala on his hips. So I apply, so I actually put Bala and I put it on his hips. So I rub it on his hips, down his spine, and then down his legs. And the same, then I apply Copaeva as well onto him. So those are the oils that I use and the supplements. And he gets Ninja every day as well. So he gets that. Sorry?
So how much? How many drops? How many sulfazymes? How many?
Okay. Bala, I do 1 drop in my hand, and I rub over his hips. Same with Copaeva. I 1 drop in my hand, and I just rub it in my hands together and rub it over his hips and then down his front legs. And with the Ninja, I do about a tablespoon. I've got to be truthful and say, I just pour it in. So I don't care. He's, my little one. He's my kid. So, yeah, look, and Elmo's on no injections anymore. So we had 1 injection, I think it was 2017, and I can't remember why. I know he was sore at the time, but he hasn't had another. And to be truthful, I will do whatever I need to do. There might be a point where Elmo is going to need some other medication, but at this point I'm treating him with all natural. He wants to go away. I'll let him go for a minute. And Elmo's, I hate to tell you his weight, it's not very good. I do have this issue because I share him with my mum. He's 11.8 kilos at the moment. So, and so if you're starting off with the supplements, you do need to be careful. So with the sulfazyme, I actually started off half a capsule and then just built it up from there. But because his x-rays, we just had them done in October last year, I mean. And I tell you, his x-rays, as the vet said to us, we went to Murdoch Vet Hospital because they thought he needed actually hip replacements. And the Murdoch Vet Hospital said to us, if I was looking at this x-ray, I would say he's definitely a candidate to have an operation. But he said, I see how good he is, how he's happy. He is walking really well, he said. And I told the guy, I didn't tell him what I was using. I just said, I'm using all natural with my dog. And he said, just keep on doing what you're doing. And he said, just get some more weight off. Elmo was at 13 kilos at that point, unfortunately. Anyway, we won't go there. And he said, get the weight off and that'll make a huge difference. And that has as well for Elmo. So I tell you, I'm so lucky that Young Living is in our life because it's made such a difference to Elmo's health and just not having all those side effects of gabapentin and pentosan. It's just wonderful. So look, and as I said, maybe down the track we need to look at doing something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so that's about it, I think. Yeah, and look, he gets a mega dose. He gets lots of other things, but those are the main ones to help support Elmo for his hips and his joints. And yeah, there you go.
That's amazing. That is such a beautiful story. Did you find that it took him a little bit of getting used to the smell of the oils, or he liked it straight away, or?
Yeah, sure. So Valor, he loves Valor. Absolutely loves Valor. And as we know, so Valor is, great. As we all know, it's chiropractor in a bottle, but also great for confidence as well. So when I use it for Elmo for confidence, it's, really good. He loves it. Copiaeva, it's really interesting. So overnight when he goes to bed, because he lays on our bed, I will actually rub Copiaeva on his hips overnight, and then he licks my hands. So animals know what they want, Elmo loves it. So no, it didn't take him. And Copiaeva is it's very light smell. It's not one of the strongest smells. Valor he loves, and I know it's the blue tansy and the Valor that he loves. He loves blue tansy. He knows what he likes.
What about because I'm assuming with the sulfazyme and BLM, you open up the capsules and sprinkle that in his food. Because I obviously do the red drink, so I put the sulfazyme in my Ninja. And one day I accidentally put BLM in my Ninja instead of sulfazyme, and it tasted disgusting. So
I know.
Is he good with the taste of the sulfazyme and BLM?
Yeah, so the sulfazyme I agree is easy. A BLM is, it has that wintergreen flavour. And some dogs won't like that. So you just need to, I don't know how you get around that one, to be truthful. I'm really lucky that Elmo eats it. He's a bit of a guts. So I mix it always in with wet food. So I wouldn't just put it on dog biscuits. You need to. So you can always put it with yogurt, mix it in with yogurt, and that will be really nice. So it's very easy to feed Elmo because he's always eating food. But I'm not enticing him up here with food. I've got cheese next to me and he's not coming up. He knows he's on show today, little monster.
Oh, well, he's been very good. So thank you. All right, well, we might pop over to Kylie. Kylie, so why did you start using the oils with your animals, and how did you know how to use it? And I guess what products have you found the most benefit from, particularly with the cats?
Well, it was really funny because I was very, very happy using it with myself and my children, very confident, but with the animals, it was a lot slower. With Lucy, the dog, it was fine. She's a larger dog and dogs, but there was so much misinformation and scariness out there about cats. It actually made me really nervous to use oils with cats there for a while. We were always happy to diffuse, and as Fiona said, animals are very intuitive. They know what's good for them. If they're unwell, they'll go and eat lawn. They know what they need to do. So it was Annabelle's cat, who's now 6, who when we used to put the peace and calming on in her diffuser at bedtime, her kitten not a kitten anymore, Sparky's 6, used to almost curl up around the diffuser. She loved, I think it's the blue tansy again, Fee. They all love blue tansy. But so she absolutely loved it. Now she had the opportunity to move away from the diffuser. She could move outside the room, but she just loved that calming of the oils. And we have like 6 diffusers in our house. They're not always going at once, but all the animals move around the house. They've got the opportunity to leave. 1 or 2 of them will sleep on our bed, and we've got a diffuser going next to our bed with all different sorts of oils all the time. Diffusing is very, very safe for all the animals, and it's only because of our oils. And this is where a lot of that misinformation and that scariness comes across, is because not very many oils, well, oils aren't oils, and most of them are synthetic, or they've been cut, or they've had additives and things like that. I just want to quickly read, because as I said, I really did want to get across, because I know a lot of people that are watching this that have cats have probably been reluctant because of the things that they've read, and it can seem quite scary. Cats are different, okay, because they don't have the same enzymes to break down things. Their metabolism could be 2 to 20 times slower than ours, and they have a lot of trouble breaking down citrus oils and oils that are high phenols. It doesn't mean you can't use them. They've got to be used in very, very, very low doses. But I always say, when in doubt, leave it out. So the beautiful thing about our oils, there's so many oils you can use. You don't even have to worry about those oils. You know, like Peace and Calming, yes, it has got citrus in it, but it's diffused. It's only a little bit. But with our kitten, we did actually use oils that are on the caution list because she had a particular issue happening, and the turnaround within days was just incredible. And within weeks, you know, the vet who came out said he just couldn't believe it. So, and I will go through that a little bit, but just caring for cats with natural products is one of the best ways to make sure they have long and happy lives. That's because felines have a unique way of metabolizing. The more green you can make your home, the better. So that is one point I really want to get across, that cleaning your home without chemicals, not having candles in your home, no air fresheners. You know, people are scared of using oils. Meanwhile, their kitchen cupboards and their cleaning products are full of things that are going to be so harmful to your animals. And what the studies that I did leading up to Symposium, because I did a little talk on cats and oils, was that more cats are getting hypothyroidism now. Liver problems, kidney problems, but hypothyroidism and diabetes and these sort of things are becoming so common that very few animals are passing away from old age now. They're actually passing away from modern day human type diseases that we're not, you know, that you never used to hear about cats having thyroid issues. And what that actually comes from is that all of the VOX and the fragrances and the fire retardants and all that sort of thing have such a huge compounding effect on pets. Now, the cat's sense of smell is 20 times stronger. And as I said, their liver has trouble being able to metabolize all these chemicals. So I had an elderly cat who passed away about a year ago. It's Matilda's cat, and she was having seizures, and they thought it might have been thyroid issues at that point of time. And we didn't think she was going to be with us for long. She ended up being with us another 2.5 years. And all we actually did with her at that stage was we put frankincense in her kitty litter. So we make a jar of bicarb, and I put 8 to 12 drops in that size jar of frankincense and just sprinkle a little bit, like a quarter of that jar over the kitty litter. And what we found is that she was no longer, she had the odd tremors, but she wasn't having the seizures that she was having anymore. I didn't use things like Nincture on that at her stage, but with our kitten we did. Our kitten was drinking a teaspoon of Nincture mixed into her food in the morning. We also were using longevity oil. Now, longevity, of course, has in it clove oil and things that you would think to avoid for cats. And once again, as I said, it is high phenols. It doesn't mean you can't use it. It means that you have to be very careful with dilution. So my body weight for 2 or 3 drops is like 1/10 of a drop for a normal sized cat. So you can see where people can, the concern is the amount of oil. So we need to dilute. So treat a cat like you would treat a baby. Okay, and there are so many wonderful oils that we can use with, and avoid those oils, the high phenol oils as well. I just wanted, so you can do a raindrop on a cat. So we've been taught how to do kitty raindrop. Now, when people say, oh, you can't use any of the high phenol oils, so you can't use wintergreen and you can't use thyme and you can't use oregano, all of those oils are in the raindrop kit. But when we're using raindrop on a kitten, or sorry, on a full-size cat, it's 2 drops of each raindrop oil to a tablespoon of B6. Okay, and then you're only using a little bit of that. You're making that up, using a little bit of that to do a raindrop, and they absolutely love that. So it's just that you need to use a lot less of those oils, and they've all got to be heavily, heavily diluted. But like Fiona, I love reference books. So when in doubt, I've got my Bibles. This is absolutely a fantastic one you can get from Life Science. And Life Science in Australia, it's always on sale. These are other ones that Life Science have: chemical-free pets, holistic for animals. Fiona got in this one here. Dr. Ali Phillips, she's amazing. Lots of things that you can watch on YouTube by these doctors that work with the oils, so you can get the information directly from them. And I've even collected some old ones. So I love to go back over my reference books, but we're very fortunate that we are Crossline, and our upline is Artemis and Susan, who are wonderful educators on pet oils. So we've always had lots of information coming through to us as well. But even this little book here, it's a little cheap one from Life Science, and that's got so much information in it. It's such a great little book as well. So yeah, safety with cats. First thing you need to really do is just look at the chemicals in the home, because it's those things that are causing the issues more than, you know, worrying about essential oils. Diffusing is my first way to use oils with pets. With cats. Secondly is my kitty aroma for kitty litter, and then petting, like patting them. So when I'm putting a drop into my hand, rubbing my hands together and then patting my cat, the cat is probably getting a quarter of a drop, possibly, if not even that. And what we have to remember, you don't have to part the fur on animals, because they actually goes down the follicle into, so it carries through on the fur. And that's another reason why we use a lot less oils with a cat than a dog, because they have 4 times more fur per follicle per little space than dogs do as well. So yeah, so I do have one thing that I wanted to read out, if you don't mind, Kim, because it is one that comes up all the time about tea tree and cats. So, you know, as we were talking about yesterday, a lot of these researchers that pop up there, there's no founding to it, or the study is very skewed. And this is where all the fear comes about, and people become so worried, and then they don't even use something natural. Meanwhile, they've got other things that they should be worried about. So in the American version of the RSPCA actually have 4,143 calls related to poisoning from household chemicals every year. So, you know, that's what people should be more worried about. And the study on tea tree was really quite amazing. Sorry, I did it here. And what it actually showed, I highlighted it and then I've lost the sheet of paper. Tea tree and oil. Okay, here we go. So on this study that was come up, that everybody's been putting that, you know, tea tree will poison your cat, they actually did a case on 443 pets, dogs and cats. Okay, and they reviewed 337 of them. And 106 were cats, okay, that were exposed to neat, this is neat undiluted tea tree. Over the 10-year period, they found that clinical symptoms included drooling, being lethargic, muscular weakness, tremors and loss. Some of them lost some fine motor control skills. None of them died, funny enough. Some of them got very sick. But this is the kicker. The amount that they used was equivalent to 1,700 drops of oil over that period of time. Now, who would put that on a pet? Like, so, you know, it was 85 mil is equivalent to 1,700 drops. So I've got information, I can put that study through to you. There is another study very, very similar. So these are such incredible high doses. I wouldn't use that on myself, never alone a cat. So when people are sharing these things, you know, if you look at the research behind it, you'll see it's very irresponsible usage. If you're using them safely, you're reading the instructions, you don't need to be concerned.
And as far as the Young Living products that, you know how you have those aha moments. I mean, you and I have been doing oils for a long time. I've been doing Young Living nearly 10 years. And I think at least once a week, I still have an aha moment. What are the products that you love the most with the cats or with Lucy, and that's given you the biggest aha moments?
Oh, with Lucy, definitely like Balsam Fir and Copiba. Like she can be moving like an old girl and then moving like a young girl within minutes. It's just incredible how much relief those oils give her. She also has sulfazyme, like Elmo. So with her, it's really just to watch how freely that she moves. With the cats, how calm they can be when you're diffusing oils. They go from their spack attack, run around and go crazy, to being all zenned out like this one up here at the moment. It's really quite amazing. But watching her transformation, like I've got videos of when we got her towards the end, from us barricading our upstairs balustrading with rolled rugs so she wouldn't fall because she had no balance. We didn't want her to fall from one story down to another. And just watching her, just transform has just been absolutely incredible. And as I said, we started to see, just with the Ningxia and a little bit of longevity and some diffusing and some frankincense in her kitty litter. And I was using longevity actually in her kitty litter as well. So that was how I was using that for her. And just incredible.
And you mentioned some of the, obviously the studies with tea tree and the adverse effects. Have you ever seen any adverse effects of using any of the Young Living products or oils with your animals?
Absolutely not at all. It's, it's really quite amazing. The last 2 kittens have come into a house that's only been cleaned with thieves. And those of you that have cats might notice that your cats like to drink out of your shower. I don't know why. They love shower water. And when you come out of the shower, they hop in there. And the fact that all of our shampoos and our conditioners, and we clean our shower with thieves, all those sort of things. I clean their kitty litter out with thieves. You can bath your cat in Thieves household cleaner with the right dilution. So, these are 100% safe, and I don't have to worry. But I've never ever used an oil on them and had that panic moment with, have I done the wrong thing? So there was an incident in our Young Living community in Australia that somebody did a full raindrop on their cat using undiluted, the proper human raindrop on that cat. So that was a lot of high phenol oils, over 30 drops she used on that cat. Mistakenly, she didn't understand what she was doing. That cat survived. It was fine. She did go to the vet and get put on some IV, but that was not following any instructions. Obviously, pretty careless, but the cat still actually managed and survived. So I think that we can sometimes, even with children and babies, as you're saying, we can be so fearful. And that's why I know Fiona and I were just beside ourselves excited when they brought out the Animal Sense range for us here in Australia. It was because it takes that guesswork out of it. And Fiona's going to talk a little bit about Young Living and why we have animal range where other companies don't. I know I'm not going to steal her thunder on that because it's some research that Fiona did.
So, I'll hand over to Fiona. What about you, Fiona? Have you ever seen any adverse effects from using any of the Young Living products with Elmo?
No, none at all, Kim. And it's interesting because I've helped a number of people with their dogs, and one particular couple that I actually helped out with their dog that has anxiety. So it wasn't even used to oils, and just to see when I brought out my Valor and my Stress Away, how that dog immediately was interested in those oils. So yeah, you know, when you're introducing oils, you always go slowly with it. You either wear it on yourself, diffuse it, or even put it on their bedding. I put, when I went and visited this couple, when I just put some Valor or Stress Away on the corner of the bed. The dog went straight to it, If the dog doesn't want it, he could have left it. And then we know he doesn't like it, but we knew already he liked it. So, yeah, look, it's really, I've had nothing at all adverse. Yeah, Elmo loves them all, I think.
And like if someone came to you and said, what do I need to know about using essential oils with pets when they're first starting? Is there anything in particular that you think that they need to know?
Yeah, it's just go slow. Go slow. So, don't overwhelm your dog with it. So you, as I just said, you just start wearing it on yourself, or, but sure. And it's always slowly introduce the oils to your animal so they get used to the smell. So you don't want to have to be dealing with, say, a stomach issue. And so because we have the beautiful Animal Sense range now, we've got Inner Balance for tummy upsets. But, before that came along, I used Digize for Elmo. And so I slowly use that. So I actually use it on myself. So I already have that aroma on me. So Elmo was used to it. So by the time I used it on Elmo, when he had the first time he sort of threw up, straight away I went and got the Digize, put it on his belly, and he loves it. And they know what they need as well, So it is always go slow from the beginning, definitely. And yeah.
And that was the one thing we were taught, is never put an oil up to their nose, because their sense of smell is 20 times stronger than ours. So some people go, oh, my animal doesn't like oils, and they take off. Well, can you imagine opening up a bottle of oil and having that times 20? You wouldn't like it either. So we always, when we're petting, we start from the back of the neck downwards, and never, as Fiona said, start slow on yourself is the best.
Oops, I was muted. Anything, before we talk about the Animal Sense, Kylie, have you got anything else that you tell people when they're first starting to use oils with animals? Anything else?
Yeah, that was it. It was really start slow, like Fee said, and I know we were told never to put them around their face or too close, because, it is very, very overwhelming for them. I start with the gentler oils as well. Like, we've got such an amazing range, and before we had the Animal Sense, we would generally, I would look at what I'd use on a child, and we were talking yesterday about, RC and peppermint, and I know I've used RC around a pug that made it stop snoring, which was pretty awesome. But for my dog Lucy, using peppermint around her, she actually starts to hyperventilate a little bit, because I had her in a closed car and I was licking peppermint, and I was trying to get my breathing happening a bit quicker and nicer, and Lucy sort of started to, I could hear that heavy breathing, and I had to put all the car windows down. So I'm very conscious that the high menthol oils, certain pets don't particularly like them. So I wouldn't put Lucy in that closed environment again with that. So, but you just watch your pets, they'll tell you.
Great. All right, Fiona, can you tell us about the new Animal Sense oils? Because, a lot of us read the labels and read the descriptions in Virtual Office, or maybe we're even at Symposium, and they all just seem to be either for skin or to calm your pet down. But I know from talking to Kylie that they do so much more. So can you tell us about them?
Yeah, sure, Kim. But before I do, I just remember I forgot to tell a little bit about about the safety of Young Living oils. Sorry, I forgot about that. So there is an attorney in the US. Her name's Ali Phillips, and so she's one of the top US defenders for animals, and she also works in animal shelters as well. And she said, if you use essential oils, you really need to be careful on, what brand you're using or what you're using. Now, we know Young Living is, the purity, it's the C to seal, which, we know is fantastic. But so what she said, what people need to do is actually go to the corporate website of the essential oil company, and then put in the search bar animals or pets, and see what essential oils come up for animals. And she said, so, for her, because she's helping a lot of animal shelters, she needs to do this research before she started using them in animal shelters. And she said recently, and it was last year sometime, she actually did a research of 10 essential oil companies, and there was only one that came up with oils for animals, and it was Young Living. So she said there's no way she would be using any other essential oils on animals. So anyway, so that was an interesting one. So I just wanted to share that one with you. So so the Animal Sense range is beautiful, and I have washed Elmo today with the Animal Sense range of the shampoo. So I love this, and if I can quickly I know it's not the new one, but the Animal Sense range. So the pet shampoo is fantastic, and you can actually take out half of this bottle and store it elsewhere, and then top the rest up with warm water, and it is so much better because it's very, very thick. And I found when you actually dilute it, you're saving money, and it's much easier to apply. The other thing that I actually do is I actually get the top of the dishwashing liquid bottle, and I use that to then pour on Elmo. So much easier to use. So fantastic.
I love those ideas. They're great. Our team's doing a money saving May challenge at the moment, and you know, I think they're such great ideas.
I tell you, that Thieves liquid top is just the best thing. I use it for so much. So don't ever chuck them out, and you can use the bottle as well.
I'm like that with the pumps that come with your V6 and your Ortho,
Yeah.
all of those things. Everything around my house has those pumps on it. So, but I love that idea with the dish soap top. So
yeah, it's really good. It's fantastic. Okay, so the first one, which I'd already touched on about, which is the inner balance one. So that's really good for any tummy upsets. So anything to do with the digestive is really, really good. So if they're not constipated, because these oils are already pre-diluted, so they're ready to be used on your animal, which is fantastic. And that's the great thing about these Animal Sense oils. So you could just rub so if they've been vomiting or they've got diarrhea or constipation, just put a drop in your hand, rub it on their belly. Now, of course, you're all very sensible, no doubt, but you know, if it continues on, then take it to the vet. I would always just try once and see how you go. I use Digize because Elmo's used to Digize now, so he just gets Digize. So the other one, Pet Care. Oh, I love Pet Care. We've had some great testimonies with Pet Care. That's one for emotions. So any dog that's got emotional well-being, any negative emotions, that type of thing, really good one to either rub into your coat of your animal or otherwise to diffuse. Fantastic to diffuse as well. So with the collar, you could always, you know, once they've got used to the smell of the Pet Care, you'd always put a drop on their little collar if they've got a fabric one like Elmo has. I'd just put a little drop on there once they're used to the smell. If you don't, because Elmo has like I've got here, he's got a little pet diffuser which he has around his neck. So I often put Valor in that one because he loves Valor for confidence. But Pet Care is really good. So I'll just tell you a little bit about it. So animals have emotions and they are sometimes unresolved. So it affects their attitude and training. So really a good oil to use. And you will see that the dog will actually quite often is drawn to it. They know what they want. So it can soothe and release emotions. It's really good for dogs that have got anxiety, rescue dogs, that type of thing. So it's got blends, 3 blends in this in the Pet Care. It's Harmony, Trauma Life, and Peace and Calming. And yeah, Peace and Calming is also another one of Elmo's favourite oils as well. So yeah, just I would be slowly introducing that to your dog in the beginning. So yeah, then there's the other 3, which is PuraClean, Pet Fresh, and Pet Renew. So the order in which you use them, they say if you're using it for like a skin issue, you would use PuraClean first, Pet Fresh, and then finally Pet Renew because you're trying to renew the skin. So PuraClean cleanses and refreshes the skin. And it's designed to clean a wound or an infected area. So apply that first, and then you would use the Pet Fresh next, which in the US is actually called Infect-Away. So they say it's great for scrapes or scratches. If your dog's been out on a long walk outdoors or adventures, great to use for any sort of irritations or any wounds that they get along the way. What else is there? So you've just directly put that on the area, especially that's infected. And then Pet Renew is for mending. So it's in the US, it's known as Mendwell. So you actually will put on that to help repair the skin. So there you go. I think, and Susan Marshall, Artemis's sister, was saying she's been using all those 3 on a skin condition of one of her foster dogs, and just seen a huge difference in it. So yeah, they're really great for any of those type of infections. So yeah.
So we've got a few questions. One is, I know Michelle Martian has just put it, and it's to do with PuraClean, so I'm going to ask it now rather than leave it to the end. She said, can you use PuraClean on a whole dog? Like if it's got itchy, sensitive skin, would you put it on all of it? Or is it just if it's got like a scratch or a sore or a wound that you would use it?
Yeah. So look, to be truthful, I haven't used it myself. I'll just hang on. Let me just have a look.
I've added it to my pet's shampoo because it's got citronella and lemongrass, so it's my flea treatment. Or instead of wearing a flea collar, which I'd never put on my pets, adding that to Lucy's wash has been good for that type of thing.
Yeah.
The other, I guess, in terms of, like, Fiona, you're saying one drop. I know when Susan Marshall gave the talk about these oils at Symposium, I think she talked about diluting 1 drop in 15 mils of carrier oil. Do you dilute it, or you really just put 1 drop and then rub your hands together and pat the animal?
Yeah. Look, yeah, I would be using it neat because it's already pre-diluted, and I think it's been really extra cautious, if I remember talking to Susan afterwards. Yeah, and look, if you see your dog has a reaction to it, do exactly the same as what we do. Get out your full fat milk, get out your olive oil. If you can see that it's feeling irritated from that oil, dilute it, just like we do for ourselves, Yeah, that's, no, I would, because they're pre-diluted, I just think, otherwise you're going to be losing so much. Yeah. Kylie, you might have an opinion there.
The V6, definitely. But, with the cats, even with the cats, with the, I keep thinking of the American names, but it's still PuraClean, because I'm putting it on my hands first. They're getting already only a fraction of that, and I'm only just lightly patting their fur. I've only got one that's really an outside cat, and to be honest, I haven't seen a flea in years and years and years, so it's more of a precaution than anything. But I tend to only treat if I feel there's a need for it. Like, basically, they're very healthy animals. If I see a cut or a scrape or a clean, I'll now try the animal sense, where before I would use what I'd use on meat. But I'm so impressed, as Fiona and I were going through these ingredients, so impressed by these animal scents, like the Menwell, geranium, lavender, myrrh, frankincense. Oh my goodness, I want to put it in a face serum. That's awesome. It's, they're beautiful. They're beautiful healing oils that are very, very gentle as well. So, the formulations are amazing.
So, there's more questions in the chat, which I'll open it up for questions at the end. But I guess one other thing I want to talk about is, because we have talked mostly about dogs and cats, but what about other animals like rabbits and horses? And tell us about using them on other animals.
Should I go?
Yeah, you can go. And then,
look, I know reptiles are very, very specific needs. So if you've got a reptile, maybe become friends with Artemis, I suggest. Anything snakes and lizard related. Birds, I haven't had birds myself for a while, but I know Danae, she might want to talk about what she does with her gorgeous bird. And we've seen, Fiona and I have seen a lot of videos and training on birds that have been rehabilitated with misting sprays and things like that. They love it. They'll open up their mouth actually trying to get the oils in. They absolutely incredible. So if you've got a bird that's into feather picking and things like that, there's heaps of information in these reference books for birds. But because I've got 3 cats, I'm very responsible and I don't own a bird anymore. With horses, oh my goodness, horses, I've never cried so much with the horse workshops. We've had Susan Marshall fly over on 2 different occasions to do horse workshops. And on a couple of occasions, we've worked with horses with abandonment, mistreated, and big emotional issues, like huge. And to see them transform in front of your eyes is amazing. And speaking to the owners of these horses a week or so later, and what I love about because we know, that oils work on both the physical and emotional level. And when you put oil on your hands and you offer it to a horse, if they go for the left nostril, I'm sure it's left nostril, it's emotional. If they go the right, it's physical. They'll tell you. It's amazing. But of course, with our smaller pets and ourselves, and those nostrils too close together to do the left right. But we saw Fee was there and Danae was there. We saw a horse do what they do when they really need it. It was a bit hesitant at first, and then it went back and needed Sarah. So we know Sarah is for abuse blend. And this horse actually lifted up its lip to block the sensors into its nostrils to get it right up into the brain. And yeah, it was just, we were all crying. It was just to watch this horse change. But I've seen agitated horses that wouldn't stand still. And the owner said it was a rodeo horse. By the end of the raindrop, this horse was very zen. The owners just couldn't, but these tough rodeo guys were just, and Jan Bevington was there for that one, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I've seen an injured horse that needed a vet, and we calmed it and helped it with physical pain, waiting for the vet to come and stitch it up. And my daughter Tilly had some stress away there with the horse, and when the vet came, he thought it had already received, like it had already been calmed down medically at that point in time. So, I love with animals, there's no placebo, it's just, and as Fiona said, when Fiona's telling us that story of that dog trying to get into a handbag, trying to get to the oils, and, I know I've seen that when you go around as well, they'll seek them out if they need them. It's quite incredible.
Yeah, I've seen that with horses as well, because I did a workshop for a local dressage group, and I've also done one for the local natural horsemanship, and we did raindrop, and I showed them how the horses actually can pick the oils. So I'd have different oils in my hand and I'd take them near the nostrils, and they'd do that lip curling, starts with F, I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
They literally curl up their lips so they can get more of the oil, and they only do it to the oils that they actually like. So, you could wipe a few in front of their nose and they don't do it, and they find one that they actually, really like and resonate. And apparently they do with molasses as well. So, if they
yeah. And the sense of smell, like I had a rose, I used to keep rose in my bra until it started falling out of my bra. But anyway, I was using rose oil in my bra, and we went to this rescue place, and I just saw this horse, and I don't know, just something made me want to go over to it. And I opened up the bottle, and it walked across the paddock for me, and I put rose on my hands, and it kept licking it off my hands. And then I found out it had lost its life partner, and it was going to be put down itself within a couple of weeks because its grief was so bad it had given up on living. And I continued to give it rose oil throughout the day. I thought this horse needs rose, and I never got the follow up, but it was just amazing to watch its tail, the whole way it stood, everything changed. And I didn't know that horse's story until afterwards, but it came to me like from quite a few meters away as soon as I opened up that bottle. So it was pretty special.
Fiona, were you going to tell us something? Is that why you've got the book?
Oh, I was just going to say, with this desk reference book, which is from Life Science, all about animals, they've got all animals in. Raccoons are in here. There's pigs in here. There's poultry. There's alpacas. So there's goats and sheep and chickens. So there's everything, So there's, getting one of these books is just so helpful. I'd highly recommend everyone to get one of these, and it's just Life Science Australia. So yeah, really good one.
Yeah, and I know Fiona Little asked for a list of books, so maybe I'll send out an email to everyone who registered, and we can put the links and the link to Life Science Publishing as well.
And all the notes.
Yeah, and the notes from Kylie, so that and we'll put them in our team groups as well. So if you're watching this in the group and you haven't registered, we'll do both of those things. Mary wants to know why you were carrying rose oil in your bra though.
Yes, you don't. The frequency, yeah, that frequency, it brings joy to your heart. And I remember Gary saying that you don't even have to open the bottle to be able to feel the benefits of it. And carrying Rose close to my heart is just a lovely thing to do. So, and also it keeps it warm. So if you need a drop, with those oils that become very thick and hard to get a drop out, often I'll have myrrh, myrrh, patchouli. There's a few different vetiver. They all live in my bra at classes.
I know Scott has just asked about alpaca.
Jocks, your pocket, Scott, your pocket.
So, well, yeah, Scott can put it in his pocket. But the thing about alpacas is my good girlfriend, who she actually also has I don't know if he's a Labradoodle, but we've done, when I've taught animal oil classes here at my house, she often brings over her dog for us to do the raindrop on, because he's got that really thick hair, but he's big, like he looks up. They have alpacas, and so we've actually used the oil on the alpacas, and there is alpacas in that desk reference, because that's where I got the information from to help her, you know, because she has, in all the years I've known her, she's lost so many alpacas to different things, and you know, obviously looking for natural alternatives rather than having to get the vet out all the time is definitely something that's appealing to her. So I know alpacas are in that Life Science animal reference book, because that's where I found it. Couple more questions. What about intestinal worms? Did either of you have any suggestions on worms?
Yeah, look, it's I remember hearing a presentation from Jen Knutson that she was saying, you know, using Digest is a good one, and but that needs to get internally. You can't just rub it on their belly. So I actually make up, which I got from Jen Knutson, who's a naturopath. So she, what she used to do is get an ice cube tray, and she would melt coconut down, then pour halfway in the ice cube tray, set it in the fridge, and then after it's set, drop Digest, a drop of Digest on each of the cubes, and then fill the rest up with the rest of the melted coconut, or pop it in your fridge, and then feed that to your dog. And it's interesting because I share Elmo with my mum when he's been there, because he often gets very bad food from mum, naughty food. Anyway, and he comes back with the smelly breath, and so then I know there's stuff going on with his gut. So I will feed that to him then, and he will eat those, and then he'll stop eating when he doesn't want them anymore. So yeah, Digest is a really good one for that. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. Kylie, I saw just recently on your Facebook page, you went to the extreme of putting alfoil around some of your plants, being rather territorial with your plants. So one of the questions was around discouraging territorial behaviour. Did you have any success?
Yeah, I'm a little bit soft with my animals. I have to say, I've got clawed couches, and, you know, I find when I've made sprays to deter this little one, she loves oils, so it doesn't work for her. So heavy encyclopedias, you know, big heavy books. I've got big heavy gardening books, and they've actually deterred her. So putting them around as mulch has worked. The alfoil did not work. Barbecue skewers did not work, and spraying oils at this point didn't work either. The only thing I'm left with now is Cajun pepper, black pepper, all those really things that you don't want to get up your nose, and you certainly don't want to get it on your paws, because pets absorb things through their pads or their paw, and that's another reason why I only use Thieves Cleaner on my floorboards and in my bathroom, is because I don't want them absorbing any chemicals. But they don't want to get things on. The cats are very clean, and they don't like getting things they don't like on their paws. So yeah, it'll be the paprika and things like that at this stage. Look, some cats don't like citrus oils. They don't like, you can put black pepper and peppermint and oregano in a spray. You know, their sense of smell is so strong. If you're going to put those menthol and those hot oils, and they don't like citrus generally together, and spray that, but you need to be doing it. I mean, it would take a little bit for them to get the hint, but they will then leave it alone. One thing I learned is once they have made their mark in that soil, you do need to clean all that soil out and put fresh soil, because once their scent is in there, they want to keep going back to it. So that was another mistake I was making. I was being too lazy, and I didn't want to have to repot my plants. But the other cats don't do it. It's just her. But water gun, a water pistol. You only have to squirt them with it a few times, and they get the message as well. So. Yeah.
Right, that's great. So Fiona, obviously you were using the Copaiba because of its anti-inflammatory properties, which is in BLM, it's in sulfazyme, and you were also putting it on. So do you think that would work for arthritis as well as the hip dysplasia?
Oh, definitely, because with the hip dysplasia, he's got arthritis, and his X-rays, just you can see he's got arthritis. So for Elmo to be the condition he is at the moment is fantastic. So Copaiba is really important. And I actually forgot to say, I actually put one drop in his food, mix it in with his food, and yeah, it's. Yeah, I think it's a really good oil for inflammation. Yeah, definitely.
And Julie from my team asked about the fly blow sores on the dog's ears. Do you reckon PuraClean or any of those three that you were talking about, Mendwell and things like that, would be good?
Yeah, look, definitely I'd be doing all three of those, and you could even use the Seedlings diaper cream as well to help heal the sores, because the Seedlings diaper cream is fantastic for that.
And the Animal Sense ointment as well. I've got them there ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
That Animal Sense ointment is a really good barrier, and on horses that have got ears that are getting bothered, you can put that over them as well. So that's a really good one. So you can use your oils and use it with the Animal Sense. And if you haven't got Animal Sense, use the rose ointment.
Yeah. So because at the moment we need to order the Animal Sense from the USA as an NFR, don't we? But
yeah,
we've got the
rose ointment. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just going down the questions in the Zoom chat. So Michelle Martian said that she uses an old Mineral Essence bottle with the dropper, and actually she must give her dogs Mineral Essence as well. Do either of you do that too?
I've tried. Lucy won't drink Ningxia. She doesn't like Mineral Essence. I tried to put a Mega Jars on her food and she wouldn't eat it. Elmo's so good. Lucy's like really. She has a sulfazyme and we use Copaiba in her food. So that's sort of what we do with her. I know they get used to the taste of Mineral Essence, and some people, I've heard a lady said her dogs open their mouth for her to put the dropper into their mouth. And I think, wow, really? So I don't know. Fiona, does Elmo have Mineral Essence yet?
No, he doesn't. It's not one I've tried on him yet. I'm not sure he would like it.
And I've been drinking Mineral Essence for 8 years and I'm not used to the taste. Oh, gosh.
Kim, can I just interrupt? Because I've actually poured some Ningxia for Elmo and he is standing here dying to have his drink. So I'm going to pop him up on the couch, if I can get him up now. Come on, up, Elmo. Come on, up, come on, up. And he's going to have, so I've actually given him a tablespoon in here. And as you see, that's neat. There's no water. It's just can you see him drinking that?
Yes. Yeah.
And he's been standing there because I tipped it out and he's just wagging his tail, licking his lips the whole time. So there you go, empty.
So that's good, because one of the next questions I was going to ask was, do you just put it in the food or in the water? But you could do either. So
yeah. Exactly. If they don't like it, you can water it down with water. But he loves it straight, and so do I. But yeah, you can water it down if you like, or add it into food. Yeah, for sure.
The next question was from Anne about using oils in the diffuser, but I'm pretty sure Kylie covered that just after Anne asked that question. Mary says that Rocky is a very fussy dog and he's never rejected sulfazyme in his morning snack or dinner at night. So, and she has learned how to be minimalistic with the oils after using Stress Away on him, and he was like drugged. Well, the name does say it all, doesn't it? Michelle said, Sarah, that was must be about Ningxia Red putting it in the food. Peace and Calming gets Izzy from crazy eyes stressed out to sleeping in about 60 seconds. She wouldn't believe it if she hadn't saw it for herself, so that's good. And they use Digize on Izzy as well. Other people use Digize. Yep, sorry, Fiona.
Can I just interrupt while you're just looking at those messages? Digize is really good, and so is the Inner Balance. I'm just saying, I use Digize for Elmo, and when they want it, they actually start licking their lips. So if Elmo has an upset stomach and I start bringing that Digize over, he starts licking his lips. So you know that he wants it. It's really, really interesting. So yeah, a really good one to use and show that they know what they want.
And interesting, Michelle Martian has made a comment about that she's heard with the Digize that you rub it on their tummy clockwise for diarrhea and, and anti-clockwise for constipation. Have either of you heard whether there's a set way that you need to do it?
Same with babies, it's the way the intestines go. So clockwise to get things moving, anti-clockwise to back it up. Is if dogs are the same as children. I've just managed to get it, just rub it on a tummy any which way. Lucy swims down at the river, and often I see those notifications saying there was an algae bloom after she's already been swimming in the river. And I brought her home once, and she wasn't looking too good. She was vomiting, and I thought, right, I'm going to need to take her to the vet. And I put some Digize on her tummy, and a few seconds later, she came inside wagging her tail. She basically got it all out of her system, and she felt very good straight away. So yeah, there was no need to take her anywhere after that. But I didn't really get around to getting her to put it on any particular way of her tummy at that point.
The next question was about grass sensitivities, but I'm pretty sure that those 3 skin oils that you mentioned, the Green,
Definitely.
Whatever the other 2 are called. I can only think of the US names as well. Whatever the men.
I know. So yeah, Pet Fresh, Pet Renewal, and
Puriclean.
And Puriclean, which is the same as US.
All right. Anne's asked about they go caravanning. We've talked a little bit about.
A little bit, but it'll dry.
We've talked a little bit about fleas, but what about ticks?
So I was going to say that I've been using Puriclean, which when you look at the ingredients in Puriclean, which is very similar, I think, a bit to purification, because it's got patchouli, it's got lavender, it's got Palo Santo, and I know that's really good for, fleas, ticks. It's got lemongrass and citronella. There you go. Puriclean is definitely a good one to use for your pets.
So before we had Puriclean, I used Purification on Lucy because Alex and Savina have got a place in Preston Beach, and Jan Bevington's on this call, and she'll tell you that those lovely peppermint trees and all the kangaroos in the area, kangaroo ticks are really common in that area. So I actually did pat Lucy all over with some Purification before we went down to Alex and Savina's, and fortunately, she ran around a lot and there was kangaroos, but she didn't get a tick. So, and I know in cases where people have got the ticks on there, that a little bit of peppermint oil will usually get them to pop out. And then I'd be using the Meanwell or any of those lovely oils to help soothe that situation. But we were lucky she didn't get one. We gave her a good check over, and fortunately, the Purification at that stage. But we didn't have Puriclean then. But next time it will be Puriclean.
All right, that's great. And sorry, Michelle Martian just sent me a message and said she wasn't giving the dog the mineral essence. She was giving the Ninja in the droppers with the mineral essence. I certainly know people who give their dogs mineral essence. So you mentioned before about birds, and I'm just going to ask Danae if she can unmute herself, because she's got a little tip about using oils with birds. Are you able to unmute yourself, Danae? Yep.
Hello, how you going, everyone? Can you see me? No?
Yes.
Hang on, let me undo that. Hello.
That's better.
Hi, Donna.
I'm the crazy bird lady. No, I've got one bird, and he makes up for a whole aviary of birds. So he's a red-coloured lorikeet, and he is 15 years old. So he's growing up with the dog. So we used to have a red heeler, and he was in love with the red heeler, and he passed away about 4 years ago now, the red heeler. So he's had a lot of emotional trauma. So what I love about using the essential oils is that we can use them for emotional effects with the birds, as well as a physical effect. So it's really helped him emotionally deal with some stuff, as well as being able to look after him and, get make sure that he's really well. So a couple of things that we do with our birds is the bird's really super sensitive out of all the animals that we have to air fresheners, candles, and all those sorts of stuff. So I remember many years ago, before we started our journey, every time we would spray fly spray, he'd start squawking. And it's amazing how sensitive birds are to, you know, the chemicals in our homes. That, you know, like, it's really, you know, when you think about it, you know, those things that go psh, 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 and air fresheners and candles and smells and all that. So a couple of the tips that we do, Bella he is Ningxia mad. I mean, you got to see this bird on Ningxia. And we add it to his food. So remember, when you're adding Ningxia as a tip to the animal's food, don't put it in their water, because it is a food. It's an actual superfood. So I put Ningxia in with the dog's food, or I give it to him separately like Fee does. But always have clean water, especially with birds as well, so that they, you know, they need that hydration. So don't add it so much to their water, add it to a separate little dish. I also add it to his food, but I've got a tip for you guys, which is a feather spray, and Kylie helped me go on this journey a while ago. So the reason why our animals pluck themselves or do things like that is usually emotionally. So you'll find that it is either an emotional effect, or they've got things like little mites or those sorts of things. So when you get your desk reference, there's some really great recipes. But for those that are just starting off, just in some water, fill in, you can use lavender, lemon, and orange, which is really safe to use on the birds. So it's a very light, and we just spray him, and he puts his feathers up and he loves it. And that helps him emotionally. And it helps protect his coat, and if he's got any little, you know, little mites and those sorts of things. There's some really good stuff on chickens as well. For those of you that have got chooks, like lavender, tea tree, there's many amazing stuff to use, sprays on the chooks, which are really good. And one of the tips I can tell you, when I was in KL a couple of years ago, when we launched Kunzia oil, Kunzia is amazing for ticks for dogs. Kunzia it grows native in Tassie, and it's called the white tick bush. And the horses rub themselves up against the Kunzia plant to keep it as a natural pet repellent, like an insect repellent. So I wanted to share that with you. So if you do have, we add that to all our outdoor sprays, especially up north, or I know over east you girls have got a lot of quite paralysing ticks over there. So that's just a little tip from me. Add that to your dog sprays if you've got a lot of ticks around, but the Kunzia is really good for that. So yeah, and yesterday I just got to share this little tip with you. Barchi, I've got a little Shih Tzu, he's 10. And he basically yesterday went out, came inside and was limping and shaking, and I was like, oh my God, he's been bitten by a snake, and had a meltdown like mums do. And then all of a sudden he's like going crazy and limping and all this sort of stuff, and got the shakes and all that. And luckily I found he got bitten by a bull ant, which at least I know it wasn't a snake or something like that. So thanks to Kylie, who's always there to help support me on my dog journey. I messaged her because because, you know, you go into a panic, you know, when your dogs are limping and beside themselves. So as a little tip for bull ants, just massage some copahiba on them, and put some diaper rash cream or animal scent oil on over the top of that, and I just put a little bit of lavender with it, and then put some stress away down their back, and that will help them emotionally get over the fact that they've been bitten by a bullet. He's so bad with it, he's dying. It's like I had to ring the vet, but I don't anymore. And then within half an hour he was fine. So that's just a little tip from me. When you're dealing with Shih Tzus that get bitten by a bullet, and we all know ourselves, and that's the great thing about the oils, is that they don't always help us you know, the physical, but it helps us emotionally deal with what's happened. So that's just a little tip for me. So I hope that helps with any of you girls that have got birds out there or Shih Tzus that get bitten by bull ants. And Bachi has Ningxia in his food every day as well. And I actually just put it into his dry biscuit. So when I was first starting off, I disguised it in his food until he got used to the taste. And he'll end up like feeds Elmo, where they can then drink it straight out. And that's what the bird does now. But at the beginning, we had to disguise it just so they got familiar with it, that's all. So there you go, guys. I hope that helps.
Great. All right. Well, Kylie and Fee, do you have anything else that you just want to quickly? I have to admit I don't own any animals at the moment because I go away so much. So I love that you just shared about your bird, Danae, because I've seen photos and I've seen you actually, I'm pretty sure there was like a video at one stage and you were spraying the bird. So, you know, I think that's amazing. So thank you so much for sharing. And Bachi's an adorable dog. Elmo's adorable. You know, you've kind of made, you know how women, when they watch baby things, they say their ovaries are hurting. What hurts when you're not an animal lover, like you're not an animal owner and you suddenly want to go out and buy an animal? I don't know. But thank you. Does anyone want to say anything before we wrap up?
It was amazing, guys. Thank you for sharing all your wonderful information, Fiona and Kylie. That was just the best workshop ever. So thank you from me. And Kim, you're the best interviewer ever.
Look, I wouldn't mind just saying the premium starter kit that's out now, oh my goodness, I tell you, to use for your dogs or for your animals is fantastic. There's nearly every oil in there. The only one I probably wouldn't use is Thieves. I haven't used the Thieves oil with Elmo yet, but I tell you, that kit is just amazing. You've got your peace and calm in your lavender, you've got your Valor.
It is. I think Fiona's frozen. I think the storm's coming in. So I don't know if everyone else has seen Fee frozen or maybe we've all frozen.
Am I back again?
I can see you. You're fine.
Oh, was I fine? Oh, good. I think it's Kylie. Yeah, so look, that kit is absolutely fantastic. And I actually run classes on the premium starter kit in my animal classes. So it is the best way because it's great for us, but it's also great for your animals. And, you know, if like for Panaway or any of those hotter oils, dilute it, you know. And I think we're going to, Kim, you're sending out some notes. So we'll say what dilution it is. So, yeah, it is, there's some great oils in there. So, yeah, that's what I'd really like to say.
Great. Thank you both. You are amazing. I feel like I should unmute everybody so they can all clap for you. As I said, it was amazing. Yeah, it's not my area of expertise. And so I love that that you ladies have generously given up your time this afternoon to talk to all of us. And that Elmo and the cats and wherever Lucy is. You know. So thank you, Danae. Thank you. So grateful. And yeah, so I've recorded this, so hopefully we can pop it into Fiona and Kylie's groups, and we will send out an email with all the additional information. So thank you, everyone. Sorry we went a bit over time. Obviously, we could talk about this stuff for hours and hours, so it's always hard to keep on time. But anyway, I look forward to catching up with you all soon. And thank you again, ladies.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Bye.